Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. My boyfriend has a pregnancy kink and I don't know what to do. I, 19, have been dating my boyfriend, 21, for a few months now, but we knew each other before we started dating. He confided in me when we were friends that he has a pregnancy kink, and he gets off on the thought of someone carrying his child. He especially likes the kicking aspect of pregnancy. But I'm pretty sure this all stems from him being pretty well infertile, and he's always wanted a family, although he said pregnancy has always fascinated him. He asks me if I want to have kids with him when we're having sex, and I say yes because I have my own breeding kink. But I feel like he really takes that to heart and truly wants to have kids with me now, even though he's infertile, and I've told him about my own intense fear of pregnancy. After we have sex, I can tell he feels guilty for finding it sexy imagining me pregnant. Like really guilty. I don't know how to help him with this, or reassure him because it's not like he sexualizes random people, or even the baby itself. Just the thought of me carrying his child and factors associated with that. I know exes have called him a pedo or predator in the past BC of this, and one girl even called him a baby fucker. Which just seems really harsh. I think I just need to get it off my chest because I feel like I have no one to talk to about this. Story 2. I have started to realize a lot more people have some intellectual disorder than I thought. I work in mental health and it's a bit like learning the signs of fetal alcohol syndrome and realizing how many people I meet had mothers who drink even if they never tell me. I work with some people with clearly diagnosed IDD, usually just mild, never more than moderate, and now I can't stop seeing how many people clearly have some level of undiagnosed delays. And it's weird because it makes it incredibly upsetting to see how these problems have made these clients targets of abuse and scams, even those who might be subclinical IDD, IQ low but not quite low enough. It's like, okay, maybe they went undiagnosed because parents sucked, or maybe they don't meet the full criteria, but there's this gap where someone's lack of intelligence is clearly causing them problems, but they get few specialized resources without the label. And I feel incredibly awkward about initiating a discussion with a client about it, because it feels like I'm sending the message that I've noticed they're stupid or slur for IDD, which is never my intention. I don't know where else to put this. I just feel hurt for the people I serve and how they fall through the cracks. Story 3. My brother accused me of making his wedding all about me. So a little backstory: I 33F and my brother, B, 36M were very close when we were little until my parents got divorced when I was 5 and he was 7. My mom, M, remarried my stepdad, SD, when I was almost 7 and B was 9. After that B was very mean to me, and because of the divorce and craziness of CPS and going to court for years over money and drama with our parents, I developed an eating disorder in which food became my comfort. I've been overweight since I was 7. I'm still overweight as an adult. B was always bullying me and getting his friends to join. He has said many mean and hurtful things to me over my life. Example of one of the worst: when I was 14 and B was 16, he got mad at me for a small thing and told me if he ever had a kid like me he'd kill himself. Then he thought about it for a second while I was bawling and he told me actually I'd kill the kid. My life is worth more than that. I have very few good memories with him and they are all when I'm really little. We have never been close and it's always him calling me names and making snide remarks. B was always the golden child and was treated as such. He was smarter and better looking, and soon I was put down by basically everyone in my family about my weight and compared to B in every way. From about ages 16 to 22 I contemplated ending my life many times. I got close a few times but never did. B went to college when I was in grade 10 and the state that I live in, my dad, D, found out that if your parents are divorced you can sue them for college money. So my dad decided to sue my mom and back to court we went. B was given 34% from D and 33% from M and he was responsible for 33%. He went away to school at a 4-year university in a major US city in our state and I was told I had to go to a community college where D would pay for classes and M would give me gas money. D paid for some but M never gave me gas. I felt like I don't matter to anyone and was an afterthought, so I barely tried and ended up getting my associates. After university, B did 4 years pre-med with M&D supporting him and he became a specialty doctor. I also got my CNA and tired to work full-time and go to school to get my RN. Ended up not getting my RN. I struggled for a long time, got engaged, had a child, C9F became a single mom and struggled for a long time. I am now in a fantastic place in my life, I bought a house, have a fantastic job, C is flourishing and is the best little girl. She's kind and the sweetest thing. I am also dating an amazing man. Okay, on to today. I'm in NYC at my brother's second wedding to a younger specialty doctor, W, who he met while dating the girl he cheated on his first wife with. I almost didn't come because of our relationship. I have absolutely no good memories of him, and all of them he is either being an asshole, ignoring me, or putting me down about my weight, or asking snidely about my money situation. At the rehearsal dinner and the wedding, the bride's family were saying all these amazing things about him. About how kind, caring, loving and sweet he is to them, and W. How he's hilarious and a great doctor, and I was heartbroken that I'd never seen that side. All I've ever seen from him was ugliness, ill intent, and hatred towards me. I was okay until after the wedding, when he and his new W walked around our family table, when he went out of his way to ignore when he walked past me twice to speak to everyone else at the table, then dragged his W away before she could speak to me. I was even more hurt. My aunt could see I was upset and took me outside and we talked. I came back in and everyone was trying to comfort me, and all I wanted to be was left alone. I was hurt and they were making it worse. He isn't close to any one of us anymore but expects us to do things for him. I was sitting facing the wall and I ended up crying a little bit because my family wouldn't leave it alone. Well, at some point my mom had said something to my brother and he comes into over and puts his hand on my shoulder and said not saying hi to you wasn't intentional and was being sarcastic and mean to me. I told him to go enjoy his wedding. He kept pushing and wouldn't leave me alone and I quietly snapped. Trust me, I wanted to make a speech, but I said to him and W that I'm happy that his friends, colleagues, and W's family love him so much and think he's a great amazing person, but I don't have one good memory with him. He's never been nice or kind or there for me like all these people say he has been to them. Then I turned to his new W and told her I love her and hope he never treats her like he's treated me. He told me I was making the wedding about myself and I told them to leave me alone. I was planning on sitting there quietly and not saying a word, just enjoying my family. Just had to say something to him and I couldn't hold back. I ended up going outside for a while and calmed down, then came back and enjoyed myself. I am going to spend the rest of my vacation just enjoying the rest of my family. Story 4. I resent my in-laws. For some context. My husband, 23M, and I, 20F, have been together for 1 year and 10 months, married for a month. My in-laws have always hated me. We were long distance for the first 2.5 months of our relationship. He was in Michigan, I was in Oregon. About 2.5 months into the relationship I moved in with him and his family. We had an apartment lined up, just waiting for the person transferring our lease to move out. Shouldn't have taken more than a few days to get out of his parents' house. Unfortunately, we ended up staying there for about 3 weeks. I had already transferred my medications to a pharmacy near our planned apartment, which was a few cities away. Well, I hadn't planned to stay with them so long, so when I ran out of my meds while staying there, his family refused to go take us to pick up my medications. They were trying to punish us for not warning them days in advance. Keep in mind, we should have been out of there and self-sufficient by this time, so we didn't think to warn them. This ended in my husband getting screamed at by his pedophilic stepfather. I simply asked him to stop yelling, and it turned into a verbal confrontation between he and I that resulted in us getting kicked out that night. Thankfully we had that apartment lined up. His grandfather helped us pack our things in his Jeep and we headed on the 45-minute drive to the CVS I was getting my meds at, new apartment. This is when death threats started and I was getting threats that I was going to get my ass sent to the hospital. Personally, I don't think that's very fair considering I didn't instigate anything that ended up happening. Months went on and they started stalking my social media accounts and will probably find this, but I'm tired of staying quiet. They began non-stop bombarding my husband with constant bullying of me, basically shit talk. I finally had enough and messaged his mother and told her that we're all adults and if she has a problem to please talk to me instead of her son. She ended up coming back with every insult in the book and I snapped. I said things I shouldn't have and I regret that. The stalking continued and got worse. I couldn't post anything anywhere without them finding out and telling my husband about how toxic and manipulative and controlling and just flat out evil I am. Fast forward more and more months and we were getting evicted. They came by to help him pack, his sister and mom. I had already packed and bought a ticket back home. I was on the phone with my mom because if something were to happen, spoiler alert, it did, I wanted someone there to see everything. His sister instantly started screaming at me for not helping, and for being a fat lazy cunt. Keep in mind I was helping him pack all night and was comforting him from the inevitable. I was simply on the phone with my mom talking to her. Also keep in mind that I'm not the type of person to take any shit, and when everything was happening, for the most part, I kept my mouth shut besides that one time and took it. When they started screaming, I told them not to disrespect me in my own home. We were getting evicted but for the time being it was still our place. When I fought back, they started screaming at me and I got up and hit the back of a commuter chair and they swung on me. I got jumped essentially. They ended up calling the cops on me for assault and I was essentially told to either go home or go to jail. I already had a plane ticket so I took the latter, that was the plan regardless. I ended up getting injured and still have these injuries to date, almost 3 months later. 2 months after everything happened, my husband came to Oregon to be with me. We got married the second day of him being out here, no regrets from either of us there. His family didn't know for obvious reasons but they found out. It's gotten to the point that I'm getting physically sick now from the harassment and mental torture they put me through. Long story short, TLDR. I absolutely hate my in-laws and they hate me too. Thanks for reading, I needed to get this out. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.